this was coming. At some point, nothing was stopping this man, so they were going to have to try and kill him. Simply put. So, was I surprised? No. Was I shocked? Yes. I was not happy to hear this. We were all of maybe 4 centimeters away from all chaos breaking loose in the States. And that, my friends, is absolutely terrifying. I do not take this lightly. There's people who do take it lightly, and I challenge them to actually stop and think about how serious this really is. This was not a joke. Making jokes about Donald Trump being a convicted felon is not a joke. These are some different things that we need to have serious conversations about. And first things first, Josh, you seem to be making a lot of assumptions off the top, as I know some of you are feeling. Here's what happened. We know that there was at least, when we first news came out, this happened, we knew that Secret Service knew for about 2 minutes of what was about to happen, and still shots got off on Donald Trump. That was weird. Interesting. 2 minutes, that's a lot of time in security world when you know something's about to happen. Then you end up finding out 26 minutes beforehand that officers on the ground ran into the individual 26 minutes before shots were fired. He pointed a gun at officers and they backed down. Nothing. Secret Service beforehand didn't think to cover the rooftop that this man was shooting from. That was weird. When they always cover rooftops at anything. Weird. Then you end up finding out they knew about this man an hour before any shots were fired. He was addressed as someone who was suspicious, who was walking around the area with a rangefinder. Nothing happened. No, leave Trump on the off stage. None of this. Something weird happened that day. And the left, the psychotic left, will say that it was staged. And that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I'll explain here very shortly why I feel that way. It's more so that this, I truly believe, was an inside job. And this has gotten more serious than people even realize. And that, my friends, is what was concerning of what happened this past Saturday. More news has arisen. More news has come to fruition. And people need to take seriously what's happening politically in both the US, Canada, and throughout the West. It seems like there has been an attack on any leaders fighting against the NATO agenda. Slovakia's president shot 5 times, managed to survive. The Hungarian president had two attempts on his life, trying to get him killed. What was the thing that these guys had in common? Oh, they wanted to stop funding Ukraine and they wanted to have a peaceful end to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. That's weird. That's interesting. Now we have Donald Trump, who has his own bucket of issues that people don't like about him. But again, he has that in common with these 2 other individuals. Wants that fight to end in Russia and Ukraine. And right at the moment, we saw the funniness that happened in the election in 2020. And it seems like Trump's, like Poilievre here over Trudeau, his lead keeps growing and growing and growing. The margin is so big now, there is no amount of election interference that can make up for a Democrat win. So what's next? They tried to jail him, didn't work. Tried to seize his assets, didn't work. Now they're going to try and kill him. And I truly, truly believe that. And I'll leave it up to you, Red. You can ask any and all questions. I'm open to answering them. I am so ready to have this conversation. But I truly believe that is what's happening right now. And it's anybody. This is just history of the United States. Anybody or a presidential candidate or someone who ended up becoming president tries to shake up anything in Washington, D.C., winds up finding themselves dead or someone tries to take their life. That is concerning, and that is what happened. I truly believe happened this past Saturday.
See, for me, I look at it and I'm like, I don't think you're wrong on that. I don't know how much of an inside job it is. That's my own take. But my thought is that I do think people were lax on purpose in the sense that it was kind of like, oh, we'll see how this plays out. We might not be actively supporting this to happen so much as like we didn't put the gun in the person's hand. We didn't, tell them to do that. But maybe we'll turn a blind eye for a little bit and see what happens. That's kind of where I look at it, and that's where I think it's sitting. The big thing that I had the biggest concern with was the fact that the way it was reported and the way people responded, to me, that was the part that really, really, I couldn't believe that this was actually done. I see you've got like the articles there, because like I was doing the same thing. I was just scrolling through how it was being reported and how the left was actually saying this was happening. Like, this is literally history being written as we're speaking. And I'm like, how could you get it so wrong? And history will look back on this and like criticize the media for how they reported this. Yeah. The Washington Post, Trump escorted away after loud noises at rally. Are you kidding me? He was shot in the freaking ear. And like the amount of people, even there's like a TikToker, he does this like news updates for real guy. And he's like, yeah, I think it's all a hoax and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, first off, if you're a wealthy individual and you want to plan your own fake assassination, you're not shooting your own damn ear off. Maybe you get shot in the arm or something, like, you know what I mean? Or maybe you don't get shot at all. You get shot at, and the person beside you dies because you're rich and you're wealthy and you don't care about human life. You don't get your ear taken off. Like, this is what I'm saying, like, ridiculous. And then, Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after popping noises. Trump removed from stage by Secret Service after loud noises startles former president. Like, there was even one, I think, I don't know if you have it on there, but there was one that was like, Trump falls over at rally, and they show the picture of the Secret Service, like, kind of guarding him from any other bullets. And I'm like, he falls over? Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, what? And so this, to me, these are the things that are most concerning for me right now, because I look at this and I go, there's been other assassination attempts on other presidents before. I do think that this one is special in the sense that, like you said, they have tried everything. And I know I was talking to one of our listeners, because we've become really good friends. And I said to him, I was like, they've made a martyr out of him is what they've done. And then even just some of the headlines being like, a registered Republican or state registered Republican. And we know that what was happening was that there was a certain amount of Democrat voters that were actually registering as Republican voters to try and keep Donald Trump from winning. Mm-hmm. They were trying to actually infiltrate the Republican Party and change who was going to be the next candidate. And so, sure, you could have registered, but then when you actually follow the money and you see that he donated to the Democrat Party and to Democratic causes, it's like, that's the intention. So what if he joined the Republican Party for whatever reason? Also, maybe he wasn't trying to infiltrate like who was going to become leader. Maybe the fact that he can vote Republican in his state and vote Democrat for his president, because they have the same rules there as they do in Canada, where actually they have better rules around that because we can't vote for our leader, but we can vote differently. If you want to vote for Daniel Smith in Alberta and you really love Jagmeet Singh, you can vote for him too in your federal election, right? Which would mean that you'd be registered as a conservative voter in Alberta, but nationally an NDP. So you could do the same thing there. But it's the fact that they're trying to paint Republicans as these gun-wielding crazies when every indication shows that this was a Democratic voter that then went to take out this would-be president.
Republican frontrunner. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it's wild.